Forget gurus. Forget anyone claiming to be an online business expert without going through the challenges of entrepreneurship themselves. The Real Money, Real Business podcast is here to prove the best insights in online business comes from your fellow online business builders. We dig into stories of entrepreneurs selling their business on the Empire Flippers marketplace so that you can learn how they made their business profitable, how they overcame obstacles, and what lessons they learned in their online journey. If you want to take your business and your knowledge to the next level, you've come to the right podcast. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Real Money, Real Business podcast. My name is Vinnie and I'm joined with today's guest, Bo. He's selling his SaaS business on the Empire Flippers marketplace. So welcome to the show, Bo. It's a pleasure to have you. How are you doing?
Thanks for having me, Vinnie. I'm doing great. So excited to talk today.
Yeah, we are equally excited to talk about your business. Just before we dive deeper into it, I want to go over a very brief summary of your business for our listeners. So today's listing is a SaaS business and it's in the business niche and it was created in November 2017. The average monthly revenue for the business is $34,051 and it makes an average of $29,900 per month in net profit. The assets included in the sale are the domain and all the site's content and files, an email list with 15,000 subscribers that's hosted on ActiveCampaign, employee contracts, programming team contracts, a Stripe account, SOPs, and a Facebook group with over 14,000 members. You can head over to empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing 50299 to learn more about the business. And if you want to start your due diligence, just remember to unlock the listing first. So, Bo, that's just a very general overview about the business, but let's find a bit more about you. Can you tell me a bit about your background in building or running online businesses before you started this one?
Yeah, so I've kind of got in business pretty early. I was planning to go to college, but while I was in college, like the first few days, my business was going up quite a bit. And I was kind of doing a lot of different things. I've been involved in the e-commerce space. And then I saw an opportunity to build out my software. So before that, I didn't really have, too much experience in building out a software business. I had some marketing experience and knew some internet marketing and how to do a little bit of marketing online. So I saw the idea. I knew there was an opportunity in the market and decided to build the software. And I did not realize, just thinking, building an e-commerce business or a couple other internet businesses, it's relatively not that challenging with getting things started. And software is definitely different than that. It is almost the opposite of taking pretty much an idea and having it coded from scratch, having so many bugs involved. So it was definitely a process getting the business started. It took me probably roughly 9 months working with programmers and coders and developers to finally get the first version of the software up. That was fun, but pretty much my experience behind that, it was just regular kid, I guess, and kind of got into business a little early, and I would say I got a little lucky with a couple of my endeavors.
For sure, that sounds like a pretty cool background for context there. As you were learning more about software and online businesses in general, were there any communities or resources that just really helped you skill up your knowledge base?
Yeah, definitely. I would say the first 2 years, I would say I was called being an entrepreneur. I really networked quite a bit. I try to join as many communities as possible, meet up with people online because we are in a very small space. And especially in the business that I'm in the software business, it's very connected. I know there's a couple competitors that I have and it's I know exactly their numbers and it's interesting. So I definitely spend a lot of time networking, joining communities, Facebook communities. And then actually it kind of helped me kind of start the idea of launching a Facebook group for now my software business. And it's actually been a great marketing tool. So the world's definitely changed with that aspect. But yeah, definitely in the beginning, I joined a lot of, Facebook group communities, went to events. There's definitely a lot of events I would say I went to that probably were not the best. That's for sure, but definitely kind of found my niche. And it's actually funny. It kind of led me actually moving. So I moved to Puerto Rico. There's a lot of people in the space that I'm in where they were choosing and deciding to, head out or move over to Puerto Rico from the US because there's tax incentives. So that kind of helped me, I guess, network a little bit as well.
Gotcha. Okay. How did you come up with the idea to start this business in particular, the SaaS business in this niche in particular?
Yeah. So I definitely started off as an internet marketer and I was actually affiliating a similar business that was okay. I was actually utilizing it myself in my business and I saw there was a lot of issues with it. I actually had a friend that was a coder who kind of helped me a little bit with some marketing online. I was like, hey, do you think you could build this out? And, my friend tried for like 4 or 5 months. He couldn't do it. So I ended up hiring professional developers. But it's all what it started off with is I saw there was people using it kind of already in the business that I'm in, but it wasn't up to its potential. It was more like a great idea, but it's like hasn't came there yet. Like I know it's kind of like people invented cell phones first and there was like some janky cell phones that came out and then finally like Apple came out with a really good product. So my main focus was like, okay, I'm just going to build a really good product of this. And, the worst case, hopefully people like it and no expectations of how many people will come. So that was kind of the biggest thing. I don't really want to compare my business to an Apple iPhone, but I would say just the main thing I focused on was just the quality and kind of listening to what customers really wanted with the tool. Because while I was networking and had a large Facebook group, I was seeing in real time what issues people were like. I would go on live streams online. I would post, polls. I would email my list and be like, hey, like what issues do you have with our tool? Like, and how would you want to improve? So really the first couple years was just a lot of heavy development work to just correct and perfect it. So I guess that's really, I just saw the idea of there was an opportunity there, but there's definitely could be a lot more improvement.
Yeah, gotcha. I think that definitely makes sense, especially when you're coming up with a SaaS tool as well. Like you say, you see a need and you're trying to figure out a way to meet that need as well. And as you were saying there, it's quite an iterative process, like it's constant back and forth between the people you're trying to help. And, when you get your MVP out there, it's a case of saying, well, does this actually help you? How can it be improved? And yeah, just a constant cycle of feedback and improvement. So definitely makes sense what you're saying. How does your business primarily make money?
Yeah, so we make money by selling subscriptions to business owners. So there's a specific business model that people are running, and our software helps them to do a certain part of their business a little faster and more efficient. So they can go sign up for the software. They can pay monthly subscription. Some pay annually. We've done some promotions for annually. And our stick rate's pretty high because if people are running their business effectively, and if they plan to keep running their business effectively, they're going to keep using our tool because it helps them. Most cases people are, utilizing the tool to help them either make faster decisions in their business or actually make extra money. So yeah, pretty much we sell monthly subscriptions. The lowest I think we've done is like $30 a month. The average is like $40 a month. And there's sometimes have some extra services where it's like $99 a month for the software. So that's about it. And we just have people that are paying monthly, and then we have some word of mouth traffic. We've done some advertising in the past. Definitely with our organic Facebook group, that's helped a lot with traffic. And I actually anticipate that keep growing more in the future as this business model grows. Just the cool thing about Facebook groups is what I've noticed, as long as there's engagement in there, which once you kind of build it to a certain point, it kind of is self-regulated and there's like moderators in there. It's growing naturally. People are joining, people are inviting their friends, things like that. So it's great. So that's how we make money. We sell monthly subscriptions at price point of around $40.
Yeah, sorry to cut you off there. You were just talking about the Facebook groups and the marketing side of things, and we will hop into that in just a short while. But definitely love the context there. I mean, I just want to ask you now because our listeners will be wondering, since you've built up such a profitable business so far, why are you selling the business instead of staying with it and growing it?
Yeah, so I definitely had a lot of fun, and I still have a lot of fun, building this business. It's a software business. What I've learned over the last couple of years is software is kind of, think of it as you're digging a hole and you have all of these developers that have shovels. And some of them will start off with really rusty shovels. Some of them will not know how much dirt they can get out of the hole, and they keep shoveling. And over time, you kind of just get more and more efficient on kind of digging that hole. I don't know if that example worked out best, but I realized there's a lot of back and forth with developers and building out new features and things like that. It's a lot of fun. And especially in 2020, I invested the most amount of money I've done back in development and also design as well. I would say like midpoint 2020, I would almost say that our tool is like 95% perfected to where I'd want it. There's other features and tools that I have ideas of that if this doesn't get sold, I can come out with them and, build the business even bigger. Like, to be honest, the main reason that I am selling is at the end of the day, I would say for myself, I have more expertise in the e-commerce and internet marketing space, and software. I've loved it, but I'm not a SaaS person. And I believe there's a lot of potential in this business, but I would not say that I am the best one to get this business to be 5-10x from where it's at right now. I think I can get the business doubled over the next like few years just by doing what I know. But for me, it's like, okay, looking at this from an analytical point, it's like, if I sell this, have the cash from the sale and can deploy that into things that I would say I have better expertise in, which is, e-commerce, internet marketing, it probably would benefit me, better. So at the end of the day, if I don't sell the business, I'm fine. It's a great asset. The profitability is really high in this business and there's not a lot of maintenance with it. Now I do want to improve it and there are steps and, kind of digging that hole a little more, but I've kind of got my developers to be extremely efficient where they can dig a hole very fast and come out with new features. But it definitely takes a lot of time, energy, and effort to get it to the next level with, marketing it, coming out with new tools and features are kind of like secondary and kind of getting to the next level is different. So I would just say simplest answer is I'm not a software expert. I built this business. I know a lot more about software now, but my expertise does not suit it. And if it doesn't sell, I'm okay because it's a great asset.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. It makes sense that you've acknowledged where your strengths lie and you want to pursue maybe other places where your passions might be stronger, like you say, in the actual e-commerce niche itself. But yeah, I hear you that, if it doesn't sell, that's also fine as well. I guess I want to touch on your experience then, as you were trying to grow and scale this SaaS business. Were there any things that really helped you as you were scaling it? Like, what were the strategies that just really worked for you?
I would say really the best strategy that I could say from just like my experience with building this business, which I wouldn't say this is the best, strategy or thing to do, is just worked well for me, is just really listening to the users and, see what issues they have or what they want to improve. And obviously it's not going to be good to listen to every single customer and make every single update on every single customer's need. We kind of set some SOPs with my developers and I, like, okay, if the same issue or same request gets made like over 5 times, and if it's something where it fits all the criteria of where we want to go, doesn't make sense, doesn't make economical sense, does this help add to more users? Pretty much what we would always ask ourselves is, okay, 1, has this been asked several times? 2, is it going to help us add more users to the platform? And 3, is it just going to help, add to the MMR? And, if the answer is no to those, then we're not going to do it. But if the answer is yes, we're going to keep improving. So I think that was kind of the best thing that I've done, is just we would send out type form surveys to people. We would post in Facebook groups like, hey, we would sometimes go live and be like, how's it going? What's the bugs? What we would do to get really live instant feedback is we set up a Telegram group chat. So Telegram is just like a messaging app like WhatsApp. And we would just have users of the software join the Telegram group. And like we would have like a beta group as well who people got in early. So they've been using the tool for a while. And they're kind of like our best focus group people, really. And it doesn't cost anything because they just like, be involved and see what's going on. So I think that's kind of the best thing that's really helped me, is just kind of have a built-in focus group, stay connected to the users.
Sure, makes sense. If I actually then, on the flip side of things, what were the things that you tried that didn't give you the ROI that you were hoping for?
I definitely ran into issues with my developers. We kind of had a love-hate relationship quite a bit, and we're great now and everything's working smooth. I would say I was a little too eager because I'm not a software person. Like I understand code at a basic level, but I think it's very easy as an owner of the business. You could say the CEO calling the shots, and it's very easy to overestimate how much work it takes to get like a new feature built out or to improve the tool or like, get some, not really bugs out. But I think I really overestimated that. So I kind of planned our marketing and our strategy. Sometimes I timed it a little wrong. I remember, I guess in hindsight, it worked out great, but we ran a promotion and we probably started the promotion 48 hours too early. We launched it. We had way too many bugs. And now we're all like staying up till like 4 a.m., making sure everything's working fine. Yeah, I would say the biggest mistake I made was not listening or understanding my developers as best that I could. I would say I was just kind of, because again, I would have more of an internet marketing e-commerce background where it's like, okay, go, let's scale fast. And you can't necessarily do that with a software business. It's kind of more of like to kind of build a base first and then go. It's kind of like a sprint and then see what's going on and then sprint again.
Yeah, that's really good insight there. Like you say, it's not a steady marathon. It's kind of working in short spurts and then stopping and sort of just recollecting and just reviewing the progress and what needs to be done again.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I actually used to be an endurance runner, so I'm always thinking like that. But then I realized, with a software business, it's definitely it's just a bunch of sprints, like 6-week sprints essentially. And then, or like we would do 2-week sprints. We would see what we need to do for that week, what we need to get done, and then, have a bigger meeting in 2 weeks and see if we can do it again.
Yeah, for sure. I was going to ask you, in terms of the marketing side of stuff, you were saying before about the Facebook group, obviously with a huge number of members inside of that. Can you just tell me, what do you do in terms of marketing for the business right now? Because you did mention before, it kind of more or less sort of self-regulates itself, right?
We've ran ads before, and we probably could do a little better with retargeting, things like that. But kind of my motto with this, just because like I have other businesses going on and I do love e-commerce at the end of the day, I've kind of let this just be a really profitable cash cow for right now. And I wouldn't say I'm necessarily in the like massive growth phase with it. I probably will start to add because I have a laundry list of like new things to add into it. But I think with the marketing behind it, I mean, it is really kind of just self-organically growing right now. And we are relying a lot off of our email list, because we have a large email list that grows, and that kind of helps a little bit with Facebook and, ran some ads. So we have a lot of solid assets that if we need to, get more cash or raise more cash right away, we know we can, send off some emails. We know we can do some promotions in Facebook. So right now with our marketing is, I would say, probably too laid back, way too laid back. It's definitely not in growth mode. It's in like, this is a profit, cash cow right now. And obviously we listen to our users still. So there's sometimes occasionally where we have to make some development. Yeah, I'd say that's the one thing that's probably not working up to full speed right now is the marketing behind it. We definitely should have ads running fully, but I've kind of I guess I got a little lazy just because it's really profitable and we can rely off of email and Facebook that's still coming in organically. So one thing I forgot to mention, this is actually really important for someone wanting to buy the business. That's actually a huge asset that I'm going to deploy either way, if this is business sold or not, or I would suggest a new buyer to deploy this, as well, is we just recently, our developers built out an affiliate program from scratch. So we have a custom built affiliate program that is in staging mode. So it's not live right now. We just have to press go and it's live. Like a lot of SaaS businesses, especially ones that are B2B, are very heavily dependent off affiliates. So that's a pool that we have not reached at all, but we finally got our affiliate program built out from scratch that can be tracked and everything like that. So that's definitely on the next list that I'm going to deploy in 2 months from now. So if the business is sold, then I highly recommend the buyer to utilize that, because I see people in this niche that over half of their business is from affiliates. So that's something that we haven't utilized yet that I would suggest definitely to use for sure.
That's great. I guess the next question is an extension of that. Can you just sort of describe the type of work that you need to do to maintain the business on, like a day-to-day or even a weekly basis?
Yeah. So on a day-to-day basis right now, I essentially have my developers right now, as I'm speaking, in like a break-fix model, that if something's broken, I pay them, they fix it, make sure everything's fine. Every morning, the developers, they check on to make sure that there's no like DDoS attacks against our website, make sure there's no bugs going on, make sure everything's fine with the software. We have a checkup list. It takes them like 30 minutes. They make sure everything's fine. It's great. For me right now, I honestly don't spend much time onto it at all right now, just as it is. I used to spend probably, I would say in the growth phase, probably spending 4 or 5 hours a day, with obviously developers spending probably equivalent to that at least. And then right now I'm spending a couple hours a week just making sure everything's fine. Once I start, because right now I'm kind of in the selling phase, but as soon as we start, because I'm kind of working in the background a little bit on planning out how to launch the affiliates. So once I'm doing that, I'm probably going to spend a few hours a day just working on getting new affiliates, working on that. But right now, like let's say something that I probably could be spending time on is a little more, I'm just trying to set up new ads and retargeting ads. But right now, the day-to-day basis, there's not really much time spent at all. The developers do checkups on everything, and that's really it.
Cool. So it sounds like it's pretty much running hands off at this moment in time.
Yeah, which I would say is not ideal for sure. There's definitely, like if I spend 5 hours a day on this, probably would be growing at a faster rate. For me, there's an opportunity cost with my time on that. But yeah, as it is right now, it's hands off as hands off can be.
If you did stay with the business, kind of hinted at it there, if you spent a few more hours each day trying to scale the business, what are the other ways you would try to grow it?
So I have a long laundry list of added features and also extra tools to add on to the suite software, essentially. The niche of the software that it's in, there's other places these business owners spend money on. And kind of being not necessarily a one-stop shop, but just adding complementary services or other softwares and tools that will help the business owners is just a no-brainer to do. It's just an investment. You got to pay developers and obviously a time investment to get it going. So I would say that's the number one focus I would be on, but probably not the first thing that would get done. So that would be the main focus, is work on every single thing that potentially could offer to the current users, and also the main goal with it to be to answer these two questions. One, is it going to get more users in? And two, is this going to add to the monthly recurring revenue? All the things I have on my long laundry list, I believe, will do that. The second thing is definitely just heavily focus on to affiliates. I think we've done very well on the organic side of the business, where we built out an amazing product. We've got word of mouth traffic because it's an amazing product. And we've done well. Like our Facebook group, I love that. We have a decently sized email list for the niche that we're in, and the email list is growing. So we've kind of got the organic side done. We could definitely, do some more SEO and add blogs, but it is a pretty niche space where, it could help investing into SEO, but I would not do that at the start. Actually, I don't think it would really be needed to. I would actually recommend, because there's a lot of people that are in this space that you could say that are business influencers, or they already have blogs, or they already have YouTube channels, they already have groups and things like that you can just make a deal with them, be like, hey, this is maybe something you use or you don't use, and make a deal where we pay you 20% ongoing of the revenue or something like that. So that would be really the main focus, and try to get done as fast as possible, is just get more and more affiliates on board, because that's really gonna, I believe, if like we're trying to grow the business by 5 times more, it's going to be through affiliates. Like we've done a lot of organic, and there's definitely more organic traffic that will come. But I think that would be kind of the main focus, is one, get more tools and features built out that's going to get more users and more MMR. And the second thing is be working on affiliate pushing. And then obviously from there, definitely probably run some more ads, because then you're going to get a lot more traffic to the website because people are affiliating, which then you can run retargeting ads and get a cost of acquisition lower to get a customer, and then just kind of repeat that entire process.
Yeah, that all makes sense. Definitely lots of avenues to explore for the buyer. Obviously, with all businesses have inherent risk with them. So what would you say are some of the biggest risks with this business that a buyer should be aware of?
So I would say inherent risks. There are a couple competitors out there that are a little different. I don't think they've done as good as a job as marketing. One of them definitely has a very much poor software. Their software is not as good. There's another one that they're really bad at the marketing, and their software is decent. I would still say ours is better, obviously, on bias. So I think the inherent risk that you do have is there can be competitors where, for some reason, let's say the competitors decide to grow at a much faster rate and they just deploy a bunch of money into marketing. Then, they can come on top. Now, the thing is, I also see that as a pro, that someone does want to come in and it's like, okay, you want to outspend some of your competitors, which the competitors are essentially spending nothing on marketing. So that's definitely one risk, is that rate of people that stay on is pretty good. I guess there is some dependency that we're hoping that more people are getting into this business niche in the future. I believe that the answer is so, the data shows that. And I think how the world is moving, more people are going to get into this business niche, but that's something that we can't predict the future. So, if some reason people are not wanting this business, or the business becomes saturated, then, maybe there's less people getting into the business. So that could be that. Another risk as well. So I guess saturation with, potential customers out there. There's that. Obviously, with, I guess things like AWS could increase their billing cost. That could be a thing for sure. So I would say those are kind of the main risks.
For sure. Definitely makes sense. Last few questions from me here, Bo. How much support are you offering buyers?
As much as they need. There's definitely a transition that's needed to kind of explain where everything's at, because I do have a lot of ideas for the business, and I probably understand that not all the ideas are great. But my main focus would be okay, this is where, everything is happening on. So I'm open to giving as much support as possible, really.
Great to hear. Are you willing to commit to a non-compete?
100% yes.
Awesome. And are you open to negotiating something like an earnout, seller financing?
Yeah, ideally, all cash paid out. I do understand that this is a business that's over, $1 million. So I can understand if someone wants to finance, and I'm definitely open to that.
Great. And last question from me. If you put yourself in the shoes of a buyer, why would you say this is a business worth buying?
So I would say it's a business worth buying. One, just from a pure financial investment, you're buying a business that has a lot of monthly recurring revenue, and there is potential to add in extra income very easily. Like if for some reason you're needing to raise capital or you just needed extra money to fund the business adventure, you could run some promotions. You could email the list and things like that. There's a lot of untapped assets that could come. So just from a financial aspect, I think a little more analytical. So I think from that aspect, it's a pretty solid deal since it is a software, there's recurring business going on. The second thing, it is in a growing niche. Like I said, one of the risks before is that, I guess the niche could slow down, but it's in a growing niche. And I've spent most of the time on just building a better and better tool from, having a big Telegram group where we're listening to customers in real time. And that's kind of just helped us kind of build a good community with our customers. So I think there's a lot of growth potential with it. And with that as well, there's a lot of, I would say, value that we've built out that could be utilized quite a bit. Like one example is I spent probably a few $1,000 plus probably 2 months building out the affiliate. Well, maybe not 2 months, but we built out the entire affiliate program from scratch that could be utilized. So yeah, I think from a financial aspect, it makes sense to in a place where it can grow. And, software is great. Software obviously can sell at a higher multiple. And I think it's something that you could probably grow through acquisitions of other businesses as well. There are other tools out there that are probably more micro cap businesses where you could probably buy it and it would just make the business more valuable. So yeah, I think that's kind of my answer there.
Yeah, great stuff. Is there anything you'd like to share that you think I might have missed?
Not really. I can really think of.
Yeah, no worries. If there's nothing else, Bo, well, it's been a pleasure having you on the podcast today, and we hope that your business gets picked up in the very near future.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Vinnie.
All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. To learn more and see if this listing has already been sold, head over to empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing number 50299. If you're watching this on YouTube, click the link in the description to go straight to the listing. And once you've unlocked the listing, you'll be given everything you need to know about the business. So until next time, enjoy your digital journey.